Are you ready? I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is King Diamond.
At the Graves.
From the album Conspiracy. That guy doesn't look very nice. He looks like a wrestler or something. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. Okay, who is this from? Is this an alliance pick? Is this
this is the Wackator.
What? Oh, that's literally a dude's name. Okay, shout out to the Wacky Tour. You're saying the Wackator. I'm saying the Wacky Tour.
Wackator.
What did the Wacky Tour do? The Wacky Tour...
I think we have this conversation every time he requests a song.
The Wacky Tour decided that we're going to listen to this specific song on this specific day. How did he get such access, dear listener? Very simple. $125 at the gate gets you right to the head of the line. You get to cut in front of everybody, just like at Disney, the Fast Pass option. And are you uploading the other video we just did?
Yep.
Where's the other video?
Maybe it already went up.
It's
because it's going up in 480, so it might already be up.
What is wrong with your stuff? Why do you keep uploading stuff in 480?
Because there's no other option, and I had a solution that I came up with, and you said, please don't do anything. You wanted to take care of it. So I've left it for you, and I've brought it up multiple times, and you said keep waiting.
Terrible solution. Anyway, back to our regular scheduled program. $125 at the gate gets you that, and then you do that 3 times, you get pushed down $75 rate. The other option is to join a Patreon alliance, starts at the gate at $1. Anyway, the name of this song is At the Graves. It sounds very, very fearful, so should be an interesting song by the band King Diamond. Let's go. Hey, spooky.
We're going to the carnival.
Spooky as hell, bro.
That really is.
Holy moly.
That song was creepy, man. So,
You know,
listen, I had this idea. You can come back to that. So, during the night, what ends up happening, because I'm like 4 weeks away from delivery, I'll wake up
Lazy
and, no, That's so rude. I wake up and we only have one bathroom and there's like
15 people.
Yeah, this house is just loaded with people. So I'm like, I get up to use the bathroom. Somebody's in the shower at 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, shoot. So I have to wait there a super long time before I get into the bathroom. It took forever to get in there. Then, anyway, when I finally get back to bed, I can't sleep. So I start thinking about like this creepy robot movie. And I came across, I was like, if they had a robot that would like look robotic in the sense that it was like when the people were awake. So people would buy these robots and they would be like that when they were awake. When everybody in the house would go to sleep, then the robot would like look superhuman. Like you didn't even know that it wasn't a human. And it would like, so at night it's supposed to plug itself in the basement and it would be hooked up during the night, but instead it unhooks itself and it like starts going around the house and like watches the people sleeping and stuff like that. But it doesn't move like a robot when the people are not watching it. It can move like a regular. I thought that would be really creepy. But this song was creepy, and it reminded me of that creepy thought I had this morning when I couldn't sleep. So if anybody knows of a movie that's kind of like that, let me know. Somebody told me of a Black Mirror one the last time I had some weird thought, and I really enjoyed it. So anyway, this was really creepy.
If I would have heard this song, because around Halloween time people were suggesting King Diamond or whatever.
Yeah.
If I'd have heard the song during Halloween, I'd have been fine. Because I'd be expecting, but like we haven't heard like real legitimately spooky songs in quite some time.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
So, and then he was talking about Missy, and I'm like, that's his sister, and she's dead. He's trying to conjure up his dead sister.
Yeah.
That's just a very like spooky feel, man. Like, and then especially the beginning like completely took me off guard.
Because the sound.
And, and I forgot that they were a metal band. So like then the heaviness came in, and I went from like, and you know, like there are a lot of times, not a lot of times, but there's often in this channel where somebody goes on a crazy run, or there's a beautiful chord progression, or like a soaring, you know, vocal thing that just like gives you chills. This one gave me chills because I was legitimately spooked. I mean, obviously I'm a gangster. I mean,
you can handle yourself.
I can handle myself. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna say I wasn't a tad bit perturbed.
I mean, it put a little creepy edge, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was creepy as hell. I wasn't. Again, if it was Halloween, I'd have been able to get it. I'd have been fine. But the thing took me completely off guard. Also, this is a concept record, so let me just read the plot to the concept record, because it made the thing even worse.
What? Really?
In my opinion. Conspiracy is a 4-studio album by King Diamond, being the second part of a story that began on the album Them. So when they were saying they, that's why they was all caps. It was released in 1989. The song Cremation appears in 2009 video game Brutal Legend. Conspiracy is the last album to feature drummer Mikey D, who left the group but recorded the album as a session drummer. So here's the plot. In this sequel to Them, so Them was 1988, this is 1989, right? An adult King Diamond returns to the house of Ammon to reclaim his rightful place as the heir to the house. However, unanswered questions about his sister's death, and I'm pretty sure a couple of King Diamond songs that we listened to had to do with like his family members and stuff like that, dying or whatever, were in this story. Unanswered questions about his sister's death, who was Missy, his mother's involvement, his diabolical therapist, and his own madness all prove to be difficult, if not insurmountable obstacles. He makes a deal with Them, the unseen antagonists from the album of the same name, part 1 of the story, to return control of the house to Them in exchange for the chance to see his now dead sister Missy again. He believes she can help answer some of his questions. An agreement is reached, and Missy returns from the grave nightly to help King uncover some of the mysteries from Them. As a spirit, however, she cannot save him from the plot against himself. Try as she may to warn him, his mother and his doctor have conspired to get rid of him permanently in order to inherit the house themselves. While they think they are ultimately successful, the album closes with King's promise to torture and haunt them forever from beyond the grave. So that's the storyline. And At the Graves is the beginning of this record.
Yikes. Okay.
So I knew somebody in church one time, and they were asking me about life after death and what the possibilities are from a biblical framework. And he was talking about how his baby sister died, but then he saw her by the crib or something like that. Is that story?
Yeah, I remember
That was a story, right?
Yeah.
His baby sister, his little sister died, baby sister died, something like that. And then she saw him by the crib.
He saw her
by the crib, right? And everybody was asking me, what do you think about that? Yada, yada, yada. And I hate those questions because there's a bunch of ways I can answer that question.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, but there's something about a little girl ghost that's very spooky to me. Although anything with children that are like ghosts are very unsettling and unnerving to me. So there was this one. It was this program. It wasn't the Twilight Zone. It was a reality show, but it was this one show that was talking about like ghost stories, like real life ghost stories or whatever. And it was one story about the Blue Boy. And apparently this kid drowned or something in some boat or whatever. And like every time, every specific day, all these people were reporting seeing this blue boy in the hull of the boat or something like that. And I would watch those stories, and then this thing about the blue boy showed up, and it like freaked. And I was in the Bronx at the time, and I was like, yo, like
What was the name of the show?
I don't know. It's something ghost story something, but it was some, and I don't think it was like a local New York channel or something like that. But I used to watch that show, and like it'd be dark and all that stuff. It's like a real dark, like I'm a dark kid, blah blah blah, emo, yada yada yada. And all the other ones didn't really freak me out. I mean, it was like these two soldiers, and it was during the Revolutionary War, and they were running from the Brits, and then the Brits caught out to them, and they aimed their muskets, and then they basically went down. Like it looked like they got hit, but then they got up and kept riding, and then they circled back to the lady's house, and the lady's like, "How'd you guys survive? I was sure you guys were dead to rights." And they were like, "Oh yeah, everything's fine, blah blah." It turns out they were ghosts. They had died. Like there was like a historical story, whatever. But the Blue Boy thing, it just freaked me out. I don't know. Something about kids.
For me, we were not allowed to watch anything scary. Like, we didn't even barely have TV. I've told you guys this before. It was a very, very strict upbringing. And so randomly, my parents would get cable, and we'd have cable for a smidge of time, and then my mom would get rid of it. And so it wasn't something that we had very often. But there was a show that we were watching, and they had a Halloween episode, and we were not allowed to watch any Halloween episodes, even if it was a show that we were approved to watch. And for whatever reason, I decided to watch it, or I watched it with my sister. I really don't know. I know I was going to pretend like I didn't know it was a Halloween episode, even though I knew it was. Anyway, the woman's baby had died, and the crib was up in the attic of the barn, and she kept hearing the music playing, but it's off just a little bit. And so she would like go up there, and she would see the ghost. It was like it really actually bothered me to the level of, it seems a little extreme, but I felt a little traumatized by watching it. Probably because my parents were so strict with what we saw, and then all of a sudden I was watching that, and it really, really, really freaked me out. And it was back to back, like both episodes of the Halloween stuff that I watched that year was a baby dying, and when the baby dies, like the mom can hear the music playing like off. And so when Selah was born, we had bought this Winnie the Pooh mobile for her bedroom, and we had got it from Babies R Us, which it was super expensive, so I thought it was going to be unbelievable, but the sound was off just a little bit. And so I would play it for her, but it would freak me right out because I felt like, oh my gosh, she's probably gonna die and blah, blah, blah. Obviously she's fine. You've seen her on the channel, my little lookalike, but that really, really creeped me out. And so this song, the way that it started out was the same thing. It was like that sound, but it was off. Ugh. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's just the impropriety of kids being dead in the first place, you know. That
Well, yeah, that's a big...
it's just unnatural, you know what I mean? Like, so the two soldiers, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's a war, you're gonna die.
Right,
like,
right.
That's what, but like, well, little kids aren't supposed to die.
Plus, on top of that, like, when little kids come back and they, like, present them in shows or whatever as, like, crazy and scary, it's like, kids aren't supposed to be crazy and scary either.
Tell you what, I have the craziest horror idea ever.
What is it?
I'm not gonna say it out loud.
Oh yeah.
I am very surprised that nobody's... You want to talk about like shock and awe? Like that would be...
You're right.
I hate this guy, but I'm going to reach out to him because he's like the only one that like has a, you know, whatever. But holy moly, you want to talk about, like, there isn't anything that shocks people anymore because there's no taboos anymore. But that shit, taboo. Holy moly. That would be some classic shit. That would be really good for the movement too. Holy shit, that would be scary. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Because then the graphic nature of the thing, like, you wouldn't be able to avoid it. Holy shit. But yeah, like so they did a really, really good job with this. Because
oh, they did. They did. I felt really creeped out.
That was scary as
and
hell.
Some of the stuff that, like, some of the guitar work that they were doing in it was really, really good. The ending. And
that's the thing. Like, the atmosphere, they did such a good job with creating the atmosphere that, like, I missed out on the metal until, like, the last half of it. Then I was like, oh, okay. Because it's like that chunky...
Yep. Yep.
Which is shit that I love.
But...
like...
Yikes.
Yeah, this song was pretty great. And the whole concept of like hanging out at graves and things like that are it's you know, we were walking yesterday and then some dude pulls out with his kids and he's at this grave site, and you know, I immediately thought, oh, he's going for his mom, but there's no wife there, but there were kids there, so I'm not gonna say anything about that. But anyway, it's tough stuff. I was on the phone with a family member last night. He's like, look, man, he's like, bro, the world is very dangerous. It's like, people have no idea. I was like, I know. So shout out to the big homie. Inshallah, he comes home very, very soon. Done with all that bullshit. But you know, it's kind of like, I don't want to say disappointing is the right word, but like, there's all this supernatural stuff and it all comes down to you're fighting over a house.
Yeah, I didn't think that you reading that made it more scary. I thought it made it significantly less.
Well, no, but the fact that his sister's trying to communicate with him about that, and like the inevitability of him falling victim to his crooked ass mother and his psychotherapist is pretty terrible. But like, and I'm sure there's some art imitating life there somehow. You know what I mean? And he's able to kind of ventilate. But it's like, anytime I see people arguing over money, I get disappointed. And like, I don't have a simplistic view of it. Like, you know, there are like real estate planning and leaving your will and all this stuff. Like, I do think some of that is significant. Like, hey, if this person is owed it and then the other person doesn't have it, then that's a problem, right? So, but I just always get disappointed. I'm like, really, they're fighting over a house? But maybe the house is some portal to some other world or something like that, and then, you know, whatever. But I don't know. I always get disappointed when I'm like, really, you're fighting over a house? Like, this is comes back to money again? Damn it! But who knows? Who knows? So I this was a very, very good song. There's not a lot of times when I can be like freaked out and spooked out by stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is, you know, and we've seen some pretty twisty movies and stuff like that. They're fine, but like, this actually freaked me out. So good job with that. What do you give the song?
9.9.
9.873. Good song. Good song. There you are. Moral of the story is don't fight over houses, and don't make sure your psychologist and your parents that there's no relation or correlation between the two.
Right.
There you are, dear listener. That's the moral of the story. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.